27.
So this is RS V4, no sorry, it's a RS 660 versus a Panigale V2. We're live, we're rolling. I guess I see the light, we are. What's up guys? Manny from MotoAmerica. We have two cool bikes. RS 660, a Panigale V2, and I have a very cool guy over here. It's my good buddy 650 Eve. He's in town.
Hey, buddy.
What's going on?
Good, man. Good, good, good.
Welcome back to sunny, hot, humid Florida, Miami. I'm going to go back right over here quickly. So what are we doing today? We're going to take these things for a ride. Luckily, our Panigale V2S is not modified much because there's not a lot of parts availability for this. It just has levers, tail tidy, and a radiator guard. So this is going to be a fair comparison. We're going to actually do a ride comparison.
Yep.
Mind you, the ride comparison is going to be, we're going to do our own. If you want to see 650 Eve's thoughts, go on his channel.
Yep.
If you want to see what useless information I'm going to give,
That's not useless.
go on our channel that you're watching right now, or wait for that riding clip to show up. So quickly, 660cc, 890cc, we brushed up on this.
Yeah.
That's actually a half an RS-V4 engine.
Yep, and it feels like it.
Yeah.
I've ridden it. It feels like half of the RS V4 engine.
So this thing only has 35 miles, 168 miles. It's been here for 2 months, guys. I've just been very busy with our Panigale V4 because you guys all love that content.
Yes.
And you guys, also there's a lot of parts for it.
Yeah.
That's why this is actually stock, because there's not a lot of stuff for it. So quick take, half an RS V4 engine. It's 1100cc divided by 2 makes 550, right?
Yep.
But it's a 660.
With the biggest
piston size, so the bore, which is the piston size, guys, is the same as an RS V4.
Yep.
But the stroke, so the way that it travels up and down, this is a longer movement up and down, which gains that displacement of 660. This is the brand new 890cc engine that Ducati made, is in nothing else.
So what you're telling us is that that is basically 35% more displacement than this bike?
Yes, we did that calculation. Yeah. So we're going to keep that in mind.
Yep.
What else we're going to keep in mind is that, to my shock, unfortunately, it's my reality, and it's an unfortunate thing, I guess, that sometimes that disconnecting with pricing.
Yes.
This is an S model, Öhlins. That's the factory model,
Yep.
Öhlins suspension. That is only $13,999.
Yep.
This is $17,699.
Yep.
So that's $3,500 or $3,700, whatever it is, of price difference, which leaves a lot of room for
mods.
Yeah, well, you don't want to ride a bike stock, right?
Heck no.
Nobody does. Everyone gets it once. The first thing you do is tail tidy, exhaust, and levers and things like that, you know. So
And this thing.
yeah, the fuel cap is a must. This already has it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But it leaves a lot of room to personalize it and enjoy it more, because we all know that everything sounds better with an exhaust, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and then the other things that I noticed is the handlebars, right?
Yep.
So the bars are, both of them are high. So all you guys complaining about why are the handlebars on the V2 riser bar, don't forget, people buy these things because they actually commute with them too. So it's a street rider, and also apparently it's for track people too.
Yes.
So we already know that they use that for the MotoAmerica Twins Cup.
Yep.
And then this thing over here is not yet race ready, but there's a V2R coming. I don't want to think about the pricing.
Oh yeah.
Because this is apparently, again, as honest as we are, I don't care to disappoint any manufacturer. This is not ready for the track for racing. So if you want to track it, apparently it's amazing, but competitiveness against the other super sport bikes, or the whatever the series is called now for the middleweight bikes, this is not ready for it yet, because it's a little slower than the previous generation bikes. And then that is also here that we're going to do some stuff to it.
Yes.
But it's a part of the Aprilia Creators GP.
Yep.
You see, I did my homework. I'm
That's
remembering
right.
things. But let's go to the quick thing. I want to, since we're here, we're going to go for a ride in a second. Looks, right? Let's talk about the looks real quick before we take him out for a ride.
Sure.
I want to get your take on the looks, right? So I'm not even going to comment on the looks. I'll do it on the ride portion of the video.
Yeah.
But I want to hear your thoughts, that you have them here. And again, I want to point this out because it's worth pointing out. That's 650 Eve's RS 660 now, but it was provided as a part of the Creators GP.
Correct.
So, but I know Eve is not going to sugarcoat things. And they're both wonderful bikes.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, I will pick it apart. But I want to hear your thoughts on the looks.
I absolutely love the styling of this. I love the front double-decker layer of winglets up here. I'm a big fan of winglets. I think that looks great. You mentioned earlier, you reminded me that it's inspired from MotoGP bikes, and that it is. It looks just like something that our good buddy, the MotoGP champion from last year, races for Aprilia right now.
Yep,
Jorge Martin, yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the styling of it. I love all of the red accents, and when you walk around the bike, you notice different elements still. The paintwork, the seat cover is amazing with the black and red on it. So then when I look at the beautiful Panigale V2, I mean, this is beautiful as well. There's definitely a resemblance to the big brother Panigale V4, but it does not have any winglets. So the front to me looks real bare and basic. If I were to give these things as a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the least, 5 being the most for styling, the Aprilia RS 660 factory, I'd give it a 5, and the Panigale V2S, I'd give it a 4. Very close.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it lost on the beauty, it gains in the displacement.
Yeah, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
All right, so we're not here to talk about looks. I'm getting very curious, and it's probably getting very hot outside.
Oh, gosh, yes.
So we're going to gear up, guys, and we're going to try to take these things out for a ride. As I said, each portion of the ride video, we'll swap bikes, will be on his own channel.
Yep.
And then I'll give you also my thoughts on the looks and what I think of him while I'm riding them. But let's gear up and let's take him for a ride.
And get some water first.
Well, I guess some bad news for you guys. Our GoPro mount was broken or cracked or something that is so shaky that we definitely cannot use any of the GoPro footage for the riding clips that we have. We did ride them back to back, so the RS660 factory and the Panigale V2S. And you'll see the video clip coming up next where I share my thoughts freshly with Ebe and going over what I thought was the really, really distinctive points about these bikes. And the bikes are gone now. Well, at least the V2S is here, but the RS660 is gone. If it was here, we could refilm it, but the RS660 is already modded. It has an exhaust and a few other parts. Hopefully next time that bike comes back over here, we'll have an exhaust and a flash on the V2S so that we're comparing apples to apples again. So stay tuned for that. And I know how much you guys love the riding videos, but either way, this video is better than no video. I'll let you guys watch what our thoughts are. And if you want to comment on anything that we speak about, I'd be very happy if you comment down below so that I could read some of your thoughts on these. And we're back, guys.
Yeah.
If you can't tell from my looks, hot and sweaty ride, a lot of fun.
Yes.
And so, we want to make it short and concise. I want you to tell me 3 good things about this bike from your ride.
Okay. The riding position, I like the handlebars being up a little higher than this bike. That makes it more comfortable for city riding, commuting, going to work and back and forth and stuff like that. Not sure how that's going to affect it when you're on the track, but for the street it's great. The gauges, they're big, they're huge, they're super bright on that bike. And then I love the tail end of that bike. When you're looking at the back of it, it's so clean. And I love the wheelbarrow exhaust, the little baby wheelbarrow exhaust back there. The styling is just beautiful.
So speaking of the tail, there's actually a Futurist Moto tail tidy coming sooner. It's about 2-3 months away right now.
Okay.
It'll make it even nicer and cleaner.
Yeah.
So what about 3 good things about this machine right here?
Yeah, man, the front styling of this bike just looks so sick with the dual level of the front spoilers and everything on it. I love the black metallic flake that doesn't really come off in the videos, but it's black metallic, and when you're riding it, you see those metallic flakes, especially in your hot, brilliant sun out here. You see that. And then the third thing is these gauges are actually bigger than those gauges, and they are white on black. They never change. There's no day or night mode, and there's absolutely never any glare. Sun glare in these gauges. So those are my things.
Look at the hood thing that it has. It's pretty far back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
One thing you could, if you were to change on this bike, like in terms not parts, but from whatever you felt, one thing that you thought that it could improve on.
The price. That's about it. Because the bike is just, it's darn near flawless otherwise.
Okay.
But, you know, as it compares to this bike being $3,700 more, I just, as I look at it, as I rode it, I just don't see what you're getting for that besides, you know, expensive stock exhausts and things of that nature, and of course the development, research development that goes in that bike. But
yeah,
there's nothing, in my opinion, that needs to be changed mechanically or anything about that bike. They could reduce the price. That's about it.
What about for this one? One thing that you think it should improve on?
The only thing I think it can improve on is a little bit more power in stock form. And I realize that I'm going to say we, but you're going to modify the heck out of this bike with an exhaust and up map and all that, and even a sprint air filter, and that's going to restore a lot of that power. It just seems choked up and on the low end compared to that bike. That's the only thing I would improve on, is give it a little more low end oomph in stock form.
All right, so you made my job harder because you touched on a lot of points that I was going to touch upon. So 3 good things about this bike. I think very quickly, the riding position is much more comfortable, as you said. This feels comfortable. Once you jump on this thing, you realize how much more comfortable it is. So, but on top of it though, I think, I'll get to it. So the second good thing is the power. I really like you saw me trying to mess around with the power.
Wheelies,
you could, it's not as intimidating as a V4.
Yes.
So you could play around and get comfortable. I think it's also the riding position has something to do with that. So they could try to mess around and try to do some power wheelies on it. The third thing is, to me, this bike feels more refined. So I think from the ride that we did, it being the hydraulic clutch over the cable clutch, some of the things are more refined about this bike. So 3 things about this bike is, this thing is an absolute crazy bang for your buck.
Yes.
I mean, you're getting everything. You're getting Öhlins and Brembo, and I also said it on my ride. You buy an S1000RR, you buy an M1000RR, you're not getting Öhlins or Brembo. You had to put it, we had to put it on your M1000RR, and it's almost 3 times the price of this.
Ooh, yes.
When you think about that, you know, I think that is bang for the buck. Number 2 thing I really like about it is that it's how friendly it is.
Yes.
Comfort-wise, I don't think the seating position has something to do with it, but the seat itself. So this bike versus this bike, the seat's much more comfortable. The foot peg positioning on this, you could tell that they were more, this bike's in between. So, but this bike it's very comfy, even if it's a more compact bike. And then the third thing, you know, I was going to say about the gauges, again, you get a lot of stuff for a lot of money for the gauges, but you made about the gauges. But I'm going to say also, given the price range, very smooth.
Yes.
You know, you feel like sometimes because it's a budget bike, if I could call it that, you know, maybe the electronics not as refined, or it's ride-by-wire. My test is in traffic, stop and go. You let the clutch out, it doesn't buck when it's just rolling forward. These both bikes, they do it really well. One thing I would change about this bike, I'm going to get to it, is what I said about the handlebar position. I would change that. Because to me, jumping from this bike to this bike, this feels like it's sport touring bike.
It does. It
You're sitting high, the handlebar. Again, it's very comfortable. I may ruin it by doing that, which we are about to do because they just released the clip-on setup for this bike. And also, while we do that, it needs a damper. The front comes up, it has enough power, that front comes off the corners. So it really needs, I think, a damper, it needs that. One thing to change about this bike over here, I don't think it was lacking the power. I just think, to me, it's if it's the quality of the plastics. These things, but again, it's hard to say it because of the price range. But I think, you know, maybe that is that shows you how flawless it is for the price range.
That we have to nitpick at.
Like we could really go in depth and say a lot of things, but we have to consider the price of it. Because this is what it is, right? Because the Panigale V4, no one is considering that because of its price. But these things, you're buying these because of the price is a major factor. So if you were with your own money, right, to pick one or the other, and you're going to go buy it, and you need a middleweight sports bike. And I know that this bike is a part of your platform right now. I really want your honest opinion. Which one would you put your dollar on?
I would buy this one, and I would take if it were my money and I didn't have sponsorships like you're good, like yourself, and I had to spend my own money on this, I would buy this bike, and with the $3,700 difference, I would put that into parts on this bike. You know, fuel cap, levers, windscreen, of course,
exhaust,
chain and sprockets, and then the money I had left over, and exhaust. And I would take even more money out of my pocket and put it on the exhaust, and I'd end up with an amazing bike for still, you know, the same money as that bike. Great bike, but price-wise, and if you made me pick, it'll be this one all day long.
Okay, I'm going to cheat on this answer, guys.
Yeah.
So, again, the price is a big factor, but again, it's hard to put myself in that shoe, that which one or the other.
Yes.
If I had in my garage already a Ducati, right, like a Panigale V4, I go for the Aprilia. I think I would choose this over an RS-V4 with my own money. You get a lot more for your money with this versus an RS-V4.
On his point, I do want to say that too, because what you just said, it didn't dawn on me until you said it. But he's right. I would actually buy this over an RS-V4 factory.
Day and night.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Because, I mean, RS-V4 is great, don't get me wrong, but I think as the big bike, I would really prefer a Panigale V4, or maybe an M1000RR, but I think a Panigale V4 suits that category pretty well. But if I didn't have a Ducati, if it was only one bike to choose with my own money, I'll probably get this, because you get a little bit of that Ducati.
Yes, you do.
I think you actually get a lot.
A lot of it, yes. You get all of it. You get the look, the paint, the exhaust, the little baby wheelbarrow exhaust, the little baby swing arm from the V4. You get everything from the
gauges,
V4.
You know, the feel,
but you get it for half the money of a Panigale V4.
So there you go, guys. I think this was it for this video. On the next following videos, or on the next video, you could expect me to get my hands dirty on this. Hopefully we'll put it back together once we take it apart.
Yes.
And I again want to thank Ebe for letting me ride his motorcycle. I get to experience some of the, of course, because I mean we could only buy so many of the bikes or have access to it.
That's true.
But comparisons like this, I love it because it's back to back. And I love it because also the viewers get some different perspective from us, because we do get accused often, which I could care less about. You know, you're always showing the Halo bikes and stuff, but it's a great experience, and thank you.
You're welcome, man. Maybe next time, guys, leave comments in Manny's video here. Perhaps next time we can get our hands on a CF Moto 675 and a Kawasaki ZX 6R or 636. And do comparisons on those.
I mean, this I didn't say it on my ride video, but if you had gone to California with this bike, I would have been upset that I didn't ride it there. This would be an amazing bike in a place where you have some canyon roads too. But
well, then guys, leave comments if you want to see Miami Manny out in California. I'll trailer the bikes out there again. And I think that we should take both these bikes out there.
I would love to do that.
And we should have a meetup out there for his California followers and mine. So let us know if you want to see that.
So I guess if you guys also want to see the ride video is going to be, or as you watch, it's my take on both bikes. Ebe also has a video up, or will have a video up on his channel at 650 Ebe on YouTube. So go check his take on it, because as you see, it's similar thoughts, but I'm going to go check it out too once it comes live. But if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, guys, have a good one.